Lesson 10. A boy looks at cricket. Neville Cardus. Introduction. Neville Cardus, 1889 to 1975, is perhaps the most famous and felicitous of cricket writers. He was equally an authority on cricket and music and a reporter of both for the Manchester Guardian. Born of poor parents in the slum of Manchester, he had only 4 years of school education. He was a self-educated man. He served as an assistant cricket coach at a school for a few years. This was the beginning of his career on the field and later as a writer. He has to his credit a number of books, notably A Cricketer's Book, The Days in the Game and Cricket. He is known for his racy and straightforward style and for his excellent sense of humor. Contents. Introduction. A Boy Looks at Cricket is an extract from Neville Cardus's autobiography. In it, he reveals his admiration for his heroes in cricket and his mastery of most felicitous style. Hero worship in Neville Cardus. Neville Cardus worshipped the Lancashire team, but he hated the Yorkshire team. He thought that his favourite cricketers were the best in the world. He considered Maclaren, Spooner and Tilsley of the Lancashire team as his heroes but regarded the members of the Yorkshire team as barbarians. He always prayed to God for heavenly aid for his heroes. But when the Yorkshire spin bowler, George Hurst bowled, Neville closed his eyes and prayed that George Hurst would drop down dead before bowling the next ball. His prayers were not on his own behalf but on behalf of his darlings of cricket. Contradiction in Neville Cardus. Sometimes Neville Cardus got himself into difficult positions with God. Victor Trumper, next to Maclaren and Spooner, was most adored. He was an Australian, and Neville was a patriotic English lad. Neville was self-contradictory in his prayer to God. He wanted Victor Trumper always to score a century, but he also wanted England to win the match. Reaction when Lancashire and Yorkshire clashed. Once in 1904, Lancashire was near defeat at Leeds against Yorkshire men. Neville was on pins and needles. He could not go to Leeds. He went to the nearest city, Manchester, and came to know of the latest details of the match from the different editions of the newspapers. He performed various acts to get the gods on his side and on Lancashire's side. He stood over a grid in a gutter and told himself that, if he could spit through it without touching the bars, Lancashire would be spared. Maclaren and Spooner had gone early. Tilsley was still not out. Lancashire's day was saved by a century by Tilsley. The day, thus, revealed its best and worst. Ranjit Singh Ji and Fry in the tests against Australia. Years passed. New players appeared on the cricket scenario. Ranjit Singh Ji appeared as an Eastern king wearing a ruby-studded crown and being taken out in a procession on an elephant. C.B. Fry appeared as Ranjit's Grand Vizier or Prime Minister. Ranjit was a tremendous batsman. He scored 3,000 runs in a season averaging nearly 90. Fry scored 6 centuries in successive innings. The crescendo of Fry's 600s sends all schoolboys into fevers of amazement and admiration. Conclusion. Ranjit and Fry in all their splendor were chosen for England to meet Australia at Lord's. Both Ranjit and Fry were bowled out for 0 run by the Australian. Neville was deeply shocked. Jackson helped McLaren to stop this shocking decline and fall. England was 102 for 2 wickets. The pride of the English team was humbled by an unknown Australian bowler by name Hopkins. The defeat of the English team was bowled by a heavy rate. Neville Cardus, thus, looked upon his heroes at cricket with emotions terribly mixed. Summary. Neville Cardus considered McLaren, Spooner and Tilsley of the Lancashire team as his heroes. But he regarded the members of the Yorkshire team as barbarians. He always prayed to God for divine help for his heroes. But, when the Yorkshire bowler, George Hurst bowled, Cardus closed his eyes and wished George Hurst would drop down dead before bowling. Neville Cardus loved the Australian player Victor Trumper as much as he loved the English players. He wanted Victor Trumper always to score a century but also wanted England to win the match. Once in 1904, Lancashire was on the point of being defeated by Yorkshire. He went to Manchester and came to know of the details of the match from the different editions of newspapers. He performed various acts to get the gods on his side and on Lancashire's sides. Lancashire's day was saved by a century by Tilsley. Ranjit and Fry in all their splendor were chosen to meet Australia at Lord's. Both were bowled out for 0 run by the Australians. Cardus was shocked. The downfall of the English team was brought out by an unknown Australian bowler by name Hopkins. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe and share.